Now I think I might be live on my channel now. So what? Starting from now.
Yeah, I can see.
Does it come up?
I can see the link. Hold on, there, mate. Yeah, I can see the link at the top of the page.
Superb. Yeah. And I'm completely out of touch with what you've been talking about, Rob, because first I wasn't expecting you to be
yes,
live
mate.
tonight.
If you were expecting me to jump around on Wednesday, I apologise, mate. Sometimes my work, I'm an freelance outdoor instructor, so sometimes it doesn't happen often. I've got a structure and I've got a book of what I'm doing for the month, but sometimes I have to jump, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, but it's having that regular slot. Yeah. I made a short video waiting for your notification to say, "Oh, I'm going live Wednesday, 9 o'clock." So I've got a short video waiting for when you decide to kick off on a Wednesday. Yeah. And if it's a regular thing on a Sunday,
yeah,
I'll make a short video just to plug it, because I'll take any opportunity to have a chat, as you know.
Yeah.
Now you've diversified and expanded your topic.
The channel was this way back in 2007, from about 2013 really. I added little bits and bobs, but I deleted them. The channel's not going to go, obviously, full conspiracy nutcase, because that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't get anywhere, nor is it going to turn into a transphobic bashing match. But I stood in that red pillbox the other day and thought, what is going on with the world?
Yeah.
And I saw your comment.
You did, yeah.
And I thought, he's right, and it is true. Man has never been so free as when the phone was attached.
Absolutely. And like I said, it was, I ask, a lot of people think, well, what's it matter what age I am? Well, it puts people in a social kind of demographic, a social period, when times were different.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's so important for, I'm 58, you're 46.
Yeah.
You're 46. Sorry. Like a puppy. So I've got, I've got 12 years on you of how society was. And, this is why I like talking to really old people of any age, really. But just because it's a timeline of how the system has gradually manipulated people to being getting to that isolation point, which was the optimum of it. It's been over the last 3 years, particularly like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Well, there was no, really, up until 2004, like I said, 2004, 2003, there really was no internet. There was no mobile phones. There was no social media to speak of. And in a gap of less than 20 years, the world has absolutely lost its mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely. Where we now have a world where, if you're trying to have a conversation with what you think is a rational, sane human being, that a biological man cannot give birth, and I've tried to have this conversation with individuals, and they look at you like a dog that's just been shown a card trick. What's going on?
Yeah.
What is happening there?
Why? It's a very carefully and cleverly orchestrated plan of understanding the psychology of the human being as an individual.
Yeah.
The human being as a collective.
Yeah.
And they've introduced that consumerism, keeping up with the Joneses. It's a way of getting people to spend money on things they don't really need.
Yeah.
And when the shit hits the fan like it has done now, and people have been spending their money on 80-inch television screens and fast cars, if there's no food in the shops, doesn't matter how much money you've got. It can't be bought. So these people that have been just bought into that consumeristic element, these people that queue for hours and hours and hours to change their phone every 6 months.
Mate, stop! I'll pop. Give up. Stop. I know that is one of my. I watch these people and I think, what, why, and each new phone they buy costs them £1,000 more than the other one, and the only change to the phones is a camera.
Yeah.
What's the definition of insanity?
It's what is the definition of insanity? Do you say, or is insanity? Yeah.
What is the definition of insanity?
Insane.
Doing the same thing over and over and over.
Ah, yeah. Which hits on this. People, here's one for you then. We're gonna have a revolution. Well, you know, we're all gonna change the world. Well, that to me is a psychological operation, because a revolution is meant to be to revolt. Okay. And I've actually got a song. I've written a song for this, encompassing the Beatles. Going to have a revolution. I think it was the Beatles. John Lennon. And but a revolution is just going round and round in the same old circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to revolt, it should be, and this word doesn't exist, a revolution.
Okay.
Now the word revolution doesn't exist. I invented that.
Okay.
Maybe somebody else has invented it before. But I think, again, this is another one of those psychological operations. And the Beatles were pretty much either taking a piss or hoping that somebody clicked onto the fact that, yeah, the world is just going round and round in the same circle. But it's a circle that's spiraling downwards.
Man, I'll put it as, I mean, let's be honest. The Beatles were so fucking high. Maybe it opened up their eyes and they could see things that were coming, and they could see the world. I certainly believe John Lennon could see the world and what was happening and the way it was going, because he did say the world is actually run by psychopaths.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but he's sitting in the chair of, I mean, they're doing all this symbolism. They've got Aleister Crowley on their Sgt. Pepper's album sleeve. Aleister Crowley, you know Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
Do you know Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
You know, so I think these people know exactly what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Perhaps they don't know the repercussions of it at the end, you know, when they're judged, if you believe in the judgment of God. You know.
I personally don't know.
Okay. But
I've seen too much what man does to each self to believe in there's any sort of God. There's a spiritual side of it, but all just one powerful entity. I don't believe in that now.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was thinking this probably last night or the night before, and I was led in my slumber, and I thought, well, you know, when it comes to God, I think I don't want to meet God. For one, just for the pain and suffering he's put mankind through, just through his creation, okay, and then he's actually sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, to suffer on a cross for his creation. So I quite, you know, deeply, I want to meet Jesus Christ, but I don't want to meet God, because I think what he's done, he's been so selfish and continuing this fallen creation of his, this artistic expression, if that's what it is. And I don't care if anybody think I'm blaspheming. That's the way I feel about it, you know. But would you sacrifice your son just to save something that you created? Nah, you just pretty much say, well, I made a mistake in what I created, I'll just wipe it and start again. So I'm not keen on meeting God, to be honest, but I would love to meet Jesus Christ, because he's the one that's actually saved me. So the message is there, but as far as God goes, I think it's a cruel construct, because it is just because you know. Well, it is. It is. It's like you know, as children, you might not have done it, but I used to do it. You put red ants and black ants in the same container. Now the red ants would win always. We knew that.
Yeah.
Just because of their weaponry.
Yeah.
But that's the way I see what God has done. He's put red ants and black ants in the same vessel, good and evil people. good people with good morals, and evil people with bad morals. So as far as a divine creator, yeah, I believe that it's a very clever design, but it's a very cruel design, and he's given man the choice, the option, the free will to choose good or evil. But I think that's, again, the analogy is like it's like putting a pussycat in with a pit bull, a hungry pit bull.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's yeah. But that's as far as I stand on God. And a lot of people say, Richard, you're going to hell for saying that, and I say, well, fuck it. I just don't want to meet something that creates what is being created on this earth, because people might say, oh, pain and suffering only lasts, pain only lasts a couple of minutes, but no, it can last a lifetime. But in the fullness of eternity, it's only a split second. But no, it's not. It's an experience. It is enduring, and it lasts for an entire lifetime. And it ruins people. It ruins the experience for people. So, I believe in a divine creation, but I think the divine creation is disgusting, to be honest. And Jesus, I love him, so and he's teaching me how to be a better person. So that's as far as God goes. That's and for those that say, Richard, you're going to hell, I say, okay. But I'd be quite happy to wander eternity. All I'd ask of God is, please give me my dog, and then leave me alone. Let me be a wandering star or something. Because I just don't want to be with somebody that has created what has been created, really. Despite the beauty of it, because there's the opposite of beauty is the ugliness of it. So I think it's a really schizophrenic. God is a schizophrenic. He's a multi character. He's got a multi character. There's both of the characters has come out in his artwork, which is a creation. So yeah, but I noticed you've got a Bud Light up there.
Yes.
So, and I've missed about half an hour of your live stream, Rob.
I just, if you'll see, my logo thumbnail this evening. I try to wonder how we go from a peaceful time. The world has always been crazy, if you will, but a peaceful time when I was born, when I grew up, when I was a kid. Playing outside, doing what we're doing. The world seemed sane. And then my point really was from 2003, 2004, there was no social media of any type. Within a space of 16 years, the world and the human race seems to have lost its mind. And if people can explain to me why billion-dollar companies are paying these biological males millions to promote women's products, and why we've got biological males shoving tomato sauce sachets up their bottom and claiming they're having a period and they can now give birth. If someone can explain that to me, what's going on?
Yeah.
And why nobody is, if you try and talk to anybody about it, you are called, transphobic or whatever, or a hater.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's a biological male. If you're going to come on and try and talk to me and tell me that a biological male can give birth or have a period, you're going to get short shrift.
Yeah. that ketchup at the bottom, that's the first I've heard of that. But is it called is that process known as the Heinz lick maneuver?
Oh, shit. I can't possibly comment on that. But
yeah.
This is what's happening. This is what's happening now, and you've got biological males saying they can give birth, and they are putting these frozen tomato sauce sachets up the bottom and claiming they're having a period. what is going on with this generation? Someone tell me. I suppose it's a bit cathartic to me because like I said, when we grew up, there wasn't any of this, and certainly wasn't any of this madness before the lockdown. Really
I think what they actually did was they gone through. I mean, you'll remember this. Thatcher, pre-Thatcher, the divide between neighbours' houses was like 3 foot high mesh fences, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then at pre-Thatcherism, the implementation of Thatcherism, when she sold off private social housing, council houses, etc., that's when the 6 foot high fence came up. So the indoctrination of an Englishman's home as his castle,
yep.
you know, that put up like, you know, the mindset of, yeah, well, I've got to defend my castle. Then come in like the privacy of it, etc. But I think he's a dickhead, this guy.
I've just seen a comment.
Yeah, he's a dickhead.
Okay, I have to.
Don't let him on. He'll just go off on an F-bomb rant. He's a bully. He's a cyber bully, picking on women. I did a video on him, and he got his knickers in a twist. Yeah. So I mean, again, it's all about dividing. And the ultimate divide is when you divide neighbours up, because you can't get closer unless you're in the same house than dividing your neighbours up. And I think it was all moving towards the isolation period that we've had. That might well have been part of the psychological, well, call it, it's not really an experiment, was it? It was like a psychological war. Because all these experimentations have gone on, even in, you know, down to the bog roll challenge, that pretty much demonstrated the mindset of humanity when people were, you know, being greedy, being violent against other people.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, and you know, it's pitting man against man. That's been just to make your neighbour your enemy. To that point, I can't remember how we began this, but you know, the ultimate is to pit man against man. And if the government offered me, you know, except £1,000 to rattle my neighbour because they'd gone out during a curfew, I would say no, no, just don't involve me in it. You know, but if they did it to my neighbour, say, well, if Richard goes out, let us know, we'll give you 1,000 social credit points. You know, it's I think it's sort of it's getting to that, just creating divides and then generating enemies between sort of ideologies, even like your Christian versus Muslim. I've got a lot of Muslim friends, and well, I wouldn't say a lot. I've got quite a few Muslim friends that I communicate with. I chat and I see quite frequently, and I've got a few. The first thing I say to them is, your imam one day is going to say, you've got to go and cut Richard's head off because he's a Christian. I said, be warned, because then when that happens, that's all part of this construct. But they don't. Most Muslims aren't aware of the Great Reset. They're not aware of the New World Order.
No. Hold on, right? Okay, we've got Michael's gentleman called Michael's just dropped into the stream. Doesn't seem to have a camera on. I can't see a thumbnail. So give us is it sitting in the basement there, mate? If you can give me a thumbnail or an image, mate, and I'll bring you onto the stream.
Who's that, Michael?
Yeah.
Michael is that Awakening Soldier.
Okay.
Bring him on, but just be aware that it might be a verbal attack on me, or it might be just spewing.
Well, it's not going to happen. If that sort of thing happens, I'm just going to stop it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not opening this channel up for people just to kicking the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
1 second.
I mean, he's mentioned about the solutions, and I'm telling you, I've come up with the ultimate solution. Now, his solution to all the shit is to go and hide in the woods, okay, and then develop a community in the woods. Whereas my solution is to unite my community that I'm actually living in now, and form relationships in my community. And I've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for years and years and years. Intentionally, probably the last 5 years, I foresee what is coming and what is actually obviously evident that what is coming. But ever since I've been in Taunton, I've been here about 14 years now. I absolutely love it here. But ever since day one, I'm a sociable kind of guy. I love pubs. I love chatting. I've always been, for as long as I can remember, I've been aware of Agenda 21. So, that was a sort of benchmark introduction to the conspiracy, really.
Okay, guys. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Michael onto the stream. Well, Michael, if you could come back, mate. I was going to bring you on the stream. What I want you to do, share this link out to your social media if you can. Let's get more people in here. And let's have a chat. What is going on in the world? Is that all money? Is all greed money greed? Yes, it is, James. Yeah, people are greedy.
It's all greed money greed.
Yeah, I think you spell out
greed money. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, all you got to do is look at, and I got family members that did the same because they panicked. Look at how many toilet rolls can you use in a year? Well, and people were going out and buying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toilet rolls. And that to me is greed. It's not just about money, is it? It's not just about money, hoarding money. It's about hoarding resources.
I think that was during the lockdown. I think. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Michael on. Okay. Now, if there's any arguing, swearing, I'll just pull it. Let's not go down that route, guys. I believe Michael's probably the same as me. I'm an outdoor instructor, so I may have a different opinion on what's going on as well. Yeah. Right, I'll bring you on to stream, mate.
I'll mute myself.
1 second there, mate. Let me sort out.
Hello.
I'm an outdoor instructor, so I may have a different. Hold on, mate. You've got an echo there. Right, I'll bring you on to stream, mate. I'll mute. Hello, Michael. You've got an echo, mate. Let me sort out.
Cheers, buddy. How are you?
Hold on, mate. You've got an echo there.
Okay, let me kill my. Okay, I muted my tab. I stopped it.
Okay, that seems a bit better. Hello, mate. Tell me what's never been on the stream before. Nice to meet you. What's going on in the world?
Well, the whole world's gone to hell in a handbasket, and it's all by design. And
well, there you go.
I offer the solutions. It's called parallel societies. When you pay into your own enslavement by keeping the beast system alive, you are your own worst enemy and an enemy of humanity. Just as the scriptures say, Exodus have nothing to do with this evil world. So Richard seems to think I'm hiding in the woods when I'm trying to get others. I offer free land. Who else do you know online that offers free land to build on, to become self-empowered, to be self-sufficient?
So you're talking about living off the land.
Absolutely, 100%. I've shopped local farmers, farm fresh eggs, beef, pork, chickens, you name it. I go into town once, maybe twice a month for just the basics. And even then I shop Mennonite stores, organic shops. I don't go into the big block GMO Frankenfood and eat all that poison shit.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm all about self-empowerment, self-sufficiency, and most importantly, to thrive and survive, self-preservation, as your 15-minute cities enslave you all through your digital currencies and everything else. I believe 100% that everybody should use their free will and not surrender to government thugs, the New World Order.
I think it might be a little bit. I think it might be a little bit too late to pull it back round.
Well, how's that?
Can I say something in a minute?
Go on,
right. Richard. You already insulted me by saying I'm hiding in the woods. Fuck that shit. You're nothing but a troll. You're nothing but a troll supporting some junkie online that attacked me.
Oh,
And then
why
attack,
bring that up, mate? Why
then
bring
you attack me. You made a very deceptive
It
video
wasn't
about me.
deceptive. It was your comment.
It was absolutely deceptive. I've never posted one video ever attacking Malibu. I just call her out on her evil fuckery.
Why'd you do it on my channel? Why'd you make such rash, stupid comments? Why not just, if you've got nothing nice to say, just don't say.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. I've just dropped the people out of the room there just to stop that. This is not what we want. Richard, I'll bring you back on. Mate. But we can't have that sort of stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's not the way it should be done at all. I'm sure you agree, mate. I did say any swearing or slating each other, I'll pull it straight away because it's not the way forward. If you're still in there, Rich. Hello,
mate. Did I get kicked out by myself?
And I took both of you off at the same time because it's not going to work, that, mate. I did say anybody starts swearing. I couldn't work out who was talking to who there, so I just took you both off for a second.
That's all right.
Just to calm down.
Let me say something a minute. Just to address it now. Michael lives in Canada. Okay.
Yep.
Now, if you look at a map of Canada and look at the wilderness in Canada, and then you look at a map of Britain and look at the wilderness in Great Britain, there's a slight difference of where you could go and set up in the woods, set up a community. So you probably agree with me, it's pretty impossible to get away from the system in this country.
You would, being an outdoor instructor, I would say you would have to go up into the Highlands of Scotland. Truth and Time, hello, how are you doing, Rich?
Yeah, so he's sort of coming at it from the opportunist. Okay, whatever opportunities there are. He's coming at it from the fact that he's actually found within the massive wilderness of Canada. And he's still reliant on going to town. He's still reliant on 5G. He's still reliant on the internet. So he's not completely cut ties with the system. But I'm not having a go at him. What I'm saying is he's coming from a totally different environment than you and me. And the way I look at it is I'm here to help other people. I'm not all about self-preservation only. I'm all about preservation of society and guiding people to a time, like we've got this experiences going back. You got 40 years, I got 50 years experiences of how times used to be. So we've got something that we can commonsensically, and people see the common sense behind how things used to be.
Yeah.
And how they progressed to being dominated by consumerism, and how the government are gradually inched in and created all these divides, etc. So Michael's, I wish him well, but his opinion of a parallel community, parallel society, is him starting up a new city or a new town or a new settlement. We can't do that here. What we have to do, the best we can do, is to unite the people that are already here. Most people, I would say about 95% of the people, haven't got a clue about what is happening.
I would agree with that. Okay, Rich, what I want you to do, I want you to, if people are watching on your channel, get them to break the link and make a link to this, so we can get more people in here. We can continue to have the chat. Take a sip of your brew, mate. Have a breath. This is good. I'm enjoying this, but I can't have people coming on and swearing and getting aggressive with each other.
Yeah, I did warn you, and I don't particularly want to talk about what he wants to talk about in regards to why he's fallen out with me. Yeah. All I want to do is put it. He's got an opinion from a totally different location, with totally different politics, even though the end game, or well, I'll call it our government, local politics in the scheme of the world order. Okay, so we're sort of like what do they call them? It was regions or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That they're going to rename all these countries now. It's like states of the
states of the Republic.
That's it.
That sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sounds like Star Wars.
But you know, I appreciate what he's doing. If I could do it, I mean, I would move up to North Wales, because I know, in my experience, the idyllic place for me to live would be up in North Wales, up in Snowdonia, and it's the place that that has the most opportunity to just lose yourself in the woods.
Yeah.
But you're never far from civilization in Britain. Doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just see my role as being, you know, a helping hand to people that are suffering through ignorance. And it's not ignorance, it's ignorance by design. You know, it's like the indoctrination program is right from the day we're out of the womb. We're introduced to this dumbing down and misguided upbringing. So, you know, that's why I'm staying in Sodom and Gomorrah, because I'm open when the time comes. You know, there's more people are just going to be aware and make a stand against, like, the 15-minute cities, for example. I know they're doing it in London. I just watched a video about Ubez ultra clean UCLES or UCES ultra clean environment. ULEZ, is it? Yeah. Ultra low emissions zone.
Okay, what we're going to do on that, I'm just going to put up a comment here. Okay, people that are watching, there's 19 people in the room, actually. Let me just, Sebago point, 15-minute cities thoughts. I know that they're putting them up, and people are taking them down as fast as they're going up. People are cutting the cameras.
That isn't to do with the 15-minute cities per se. That is to do with what would probably be monitoring the 15-minute cities when they do introduce it. But
I mean, they're taking them down before the cities start.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, people are, you know, and one thing on my agenda is just to approach my council and find out whether we are signed up to this 15-minute city status. You know, because about the old 5G whiz, now they put a mast up. It's about, I don't know, 500 yards up the road from me, and it's right on the periphery. I live on the outskirts of Taunton, about as far as you can get on the outskirts.
Yep.
And 2020, they put up a big G mast, and then they introduced all the LED lights. Now, apparently, the old G whiz has got a short range, which is why these new LED lights, they're the sort of like, they bring the 5G a bit closer, so that each, you know, I don't know if it's got a range of 100 yards or something like that, but every 100 yards they'll have a something that can connect one light that has the 5G capabilities with another 100 yards up the road. I hadn't come across about that. I come across that today, and it sort of makes sense as to why. Firstly, knowing the dangers of LED lights anyway on the retina.
Yeah.
Secondly, Mark Steele. Are you familiar with Mark Steele?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Mark Steele. He's been around for a while. He's been completely obliterated off the internet, I think. He's a good friend of David Yates. I did have him on a live stream one time. The live stream got deleted, and I got a spank. I got a strike for it. He did go off on one a little bit, but it was fundamentally about LED lights, and just how it is. It's all about monitoring the movement. So it's all about monitoring people, absolutely, yeah, and controlling. So, I mean, I think I could live by myself. I'd quite happily live by myself. But it would rack me to know that I've left friends. I've got homeless friends. That I've got a lot of homeless friends actually, and I think, do I just want to leave them and go off and just try and survive by myself? No, I don't. I'm a communal.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, one must do what one must do for oneself if there's no other choice.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not going to start the human race all over again, just being on my own, for one thing. But I just feel you can have a parallel society within another community. All you need to do is establish that the members of that parallel community. And 15-minute cities, well, there are ways around it. There are ways around it. And all this thing about the old cure, you know, and things like, you know, dogs fur shedding, all those sorts of things. I don't care about things like that. I don't care about catching anything. I don't care if anything leaps over and attaches itself to me. I really don't care about that.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, I'm in a community that needs defending. And if everybody, if you know, if all those that were awake in my community in Taunton ran off into the woods, you just got, you know, it's just like, it's like women and children first. It's like me leaping in a lifeboat dressed as a woman. You know?
Yep.
Which might, ironically, has a connection with, you know, your Bud Light. Really, maybe that's something to do with it. Women and children first, and you know.
Well, you know, women and children first. They want equality, but when it's what I will say about that is when a man is being giving a woman shit, what do the women want the man to do? They want him to step in, don't they?
Oh well. I don't think it's really a want, actually. I think it's just part of our nature.
Okay.
That a man will not stand there and watch a woman or a child getting beaten up, or even another you know, like another guy getting beaten up. A woman would, a man wouldn't do that. The role of a man is endemically, it is to defend and protect the family, and your community is an extension of your family.
So on that one then, mate, why are they trying to swap the roles around?
Well,
why have we got men, like I said, being paid millions by these corporations to promote women's products? What's going on? Why are they trying? They are trying to destroy masculinity. They don't want strong, able men.
I totally 100% agree with that, and that's what I would have said in response to that question. Is to, I mean, there might be another reason, and that is to curtail the population growth.
Yep.
Then there is that one of demasculizing, if that is a word. It's demasculizing the population. It's getting rid of the protecting element, like wars. Like wars, you know, the Second and First World Wars. They got rid of the protective element of nations. In, you know, the fittest and strongest men prepared to give their life in pursuit of perceived peace.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it was all a psyop. You know, and then you deplete a nation of millions and millions and millions of fit, active, honourable men and women. Those that would stand up and defend and protect the women and the children that are, you know. I'm not anti-feminist. I'm not feminist. I just think naturally a woman's role, not role even, it's just the nature of a woman is, if they've had a child, is the first thing that's the most important thing to them is to protect that child. Then the man comes along. Well, what does he do? Well, he has to protect the child, but he also has to protect the woman. So that is the role of a man.
Yeah,
as I see it, is that ultra defense and prepared to give their lives in pursuit of that defense. So, you know, I don't take no shit me out in the streets. You know, I just stand up for anybody that is a victim, really. And I'm still here doing it because everybody everybody is a victim. Even myself, I am a victim.
Of?
You know, but how can, you know, it's just like captain leaving his ship, really. If you're the most awake person in your environment, in your community, or if you are one of them, part of a group, which is what I am, you know, it's like the captain leaving his ship, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the secret life raft that, you know, is for captain.
The Costa Concordia. If you
Oh
remember
yeah.
That if you remember the lighthouse call between the captain and the captain of the lighthouse and the captain of the ship in Italian was fascinating.
No, I can't remember that. I can remember the event.
Can I
just say, Daryl, hello, my friend. There's a link. I pinned the link to this to the live stream on Rob's channel, Watching Observer's channel. If you can all jolly over to this live stream, because it would be much appreciated. And if you could subscribe to it, that would be a bonus for everybody, really. And it's, I mean, fundamentally, it's what we're about is creating a community here, I guess, Rob, isn't it? And you know, you've got a reputation. You've got, you know, you've got you know, you're an ex-member. Are you ever an ex-service member?
I am. Hello, Del. Oh yeah, I'm practicing through. Hold on. I am. Yeah, I was in 2-3 Pioneer before the regiment was disbanded. I served, and I suppose that's when I say I've seen too much of what man does to them, to themselves, to believe in any form of deity or God. There's certainly a spiritual side, but you know, I've seen what man does to each other. Too much to believe in such a thing. You know, that's just my opinion.
I totally agree. But like, you're coming from you've got that experience of you know, being in the services, the armed services.
Yeah.
Now, I was refused 3 times. I tried 3 times to get in the Royal Electrical Engineers, Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers in Bristol. I think they're the Gloucester. Yeah, the Gloucesters they were, and they refused me 3 times.
On medical grounds?
No, it wasn't medical grounds. I think I was a bit clever because I got 100% in the test.
Okay.
You should have gone
to Sandhurst then, mate.
Well, I think that's probably what they might have feared, because I'm from a council estate, just from common stock breeding, and they wouldn't want somebody like me up there. And they probably knew that I would eventually, at some point in time, see through the bullshit.
Yeah.
See through the manipulation, and possibly, if I was still in the services, is be one of those people that says, "Listen, I ain't putting up with this anymore. Let's have a military coup."
Possibly. Okay.
You know?
Goose Plays 20 says, "What is Bud Light?" Bud Light is a beer that's about to come defunct because it's been 6 billion down today. Looking at the profits for Eisner-Busch, because they are promoting a biological male on their can. Obviously, Dylan McVaney, who is still a biological male, getting running around in a dress, and the people have turned on the company, which I expected, to be quite honest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think Jack Daniels have started doing it as well, haven't they?
Oh, piss off.
No, I won't piss off. I'm telling you. Jack Daniels have got on that gravy train as well. It's not really a gravy train, though, is it?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Jack Daniels. So there is an obvious agenda here pushing that, but obviously it's backfiring to a degree.
6.5 billion down today.
Wow.
Goose Place says, "Can we save?" We don't want to save it, mate. This company's doomed.
Do you reckon that? I mean, that could be by design as well. They just think, well, you know, because in this utopian future, do you think alcohol is going to be permitted?
I
mean, alcohol, anything that brings the people joy or release from the tyranny and the totalitarianism, that won't exist. They won't allow that. They can't. It just makes common sense, Rob, doesn't it? All right, so your Friday night, couple of pints down the pub Friday night, having a chat with your mates. That ain't gonna be a thing. I don't think that'll be a thing.
I agree with you a little bit. It's certainly the way.
Unless, of course, yeah. Well, you know, these things, these little. I mean, it's a luxury, isn't it? Now, the price of it in the pub. I haven't been to a pub for years.
Hello, Richard. There's a question there. Who is the other guy on the panel? You want to introduce yourself, mate?
I'm Richard. I'm a stonemason, not a freemason. That's my channel name, Richard, a stonemason, not a freemason. So, yeah.
I suppose in a way, mate, we're doing that little podcast we spoke about.
Well, yeah, I was pretty excited about Wednesday.
Oh, you're not gonna live that down, are you, bud?
No. You know, because
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
You sort of disappeared for a little while.
Yeah.
And then you come up with that phone box.
Yeah.
That little walk you did.
Yeah.
And you know, at least I know you were still alive. You haven't been deleted or anything. I knew you hadn't been deleted. But it's just to get that regularity. And if you said, right, okay, so I can manage every Sunday. I mean, Sundays is a good day anyway.
Yeah. It's Sunday. It will have to be Sunday. I tried to get it on a Wednesday, but things just the nature of the beast of my freelance world. It's not going to happen, Chief.
Yeah. So Sunday's a good day. But just to have that regularity of every Sunday, 9 p.m. It's whatever it is. I mean,
I've got loads of topics I can bring to Sunday stream.
Yeah.
You know, everything from, you know, did we go to the moon?
Yeah.
You know, not going to go down any heavy things such as, you know, the C word or anything like that. It's really not worth it. But yeah, you know, walking around that little village, it just felt like it was trapped in a time zone.
Yeah. Until you come across a defibrillator.
I come across a defib. I didn't. Hello, James. Hello. So I opened the door and there's a defib in there, which is very useful. You know, only ever had to use a defib once. It's a horrible thing to the person on the floor, but the person came back to life. Yeah, but walking on that town, the little village, it was like it's trapped in time, and it made me think, like I said, when I went in that phone box, that old phone booth. Wow, it's like you in that comment you put. You know, when the phone was attached, people were free, and though they were. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, they were. And absolutely.
As I mentioned, I mean, Sunday used to be like a popular time for people to make phone calls. So you could be in a queue of half a dozen people.
Yeah.
That you know, where you got that communication, that face-to-face communication.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you have experienced that, and then you look at today how people are just cell phone based, really, aren't they? Mobile phone based.
Yeah.
They haven't got time for other people. If they got time for other people, it's like a text message. Cup of tea, please, darling. Okay, in the other room. So, hello, James. Come over to the main stream. I think I pinned the link, James. And if you want to come on and say hello, you can live stream it to your own channel. Yeah,
just ask if I can join. I'm crying, but baby in the room. It's probably not going to be best, mate.
Stonemason leaves Mason's sign on stone, live in Freemasonic. Freemasonic.
No idea what that means, mate.
Well, a Mason's sign used to be, we called them Mason's mark, and it was like stonemasons. If they were, if they had a block of, not just say they had a block of stone come in, put on their workbench, on their banker, and they actually worked that stone, at some point when they finished that stone, they would actually leave what is known as a mason's mark. So it's an identifying mark. So when the like the financier, that, you know, like the master mason will come up, you say, right, that's Richard's mason's mark there. We can pay him for that stone. That's the origins of a mason's mark. And generally they were put on faces that weren't seen. So I've never actually come across a mason's mark that's on the face of a stone. They're generally on the joints, like the top bed, bottom bed, or side beds, or the back.
That's pretty cool.
So if you ever see what appears to be a mason's mark on the face of a stone, that might be something to do with satanic signaling in, or symbolism. It's a difficult one, that, but traditionally a mason's mark is a way of it's sort of like a receipt, like a bill, or, you know, like a record of what you've done, really, without having to write it down. So that's a mason's mark. The Freemason's mark, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what that is. And I've got some Freemason friends. They're completely oblivious to it. And it's like I say, and this is what I say to them. Well, you're like, it's like because they got this charitable facade, haven't they? The Freemasons, they still keep secrets.
It's definitely a cult, mate.
It's a cover, and I say, well, it's like going into church with a Holy Bible, and in the middle of the Holy Bible, you've got a dirty mag. You know, so the cover is that righteous, charitable facade. But when you get right up at the top, and ultimately it's all about control. They like people that have, for example, they like people that can have dominion over like 10 employees or 100 employees. So people that are good at business and have employees have that sort of persona about them where they can control a situation. You know, that's the sort of thing they like. But they like people that have an element of being able to control. I've been asked 3 times to join, and no, not for me. I'm not into dressing up like that. I'm not into keeping secrets. You know, the Grand Poobah, I think is of the world actually. UGLE, United Grand Lodge of England. It's the Duke of Kent, who's a royal relative. And I think now I don't want masters. I've got a master already, and that is just a good teacher. I'm the master of my own destiny. I choose, but I don't want to be bowing down to other people. You know, it's and this is the thing. If you knew something that would enlighten mankind, you wouldn't keep it a secret, would you? Which is what they claim to be. It's like elevating the individual. That's what Freemasonry is all about. It's elevating the individual to be kind of like gods. But
that's why I say it's a cult, mate, because they only like select people in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And again, once you're in there, you sign an oath to uphold their rights, I guess, and their rules and their laws. And I think America has a lot of police are openly members of. They got fraternal orders of the police, haven't they? But once you're in it, you can't get out. You're signed over under the threat of ostracization at the least, and death at the most. So, you know, I can't be living there. It's bad enough living in under the authority of a government, you know, which I don't, you know, if they say something, I'll use my discretion and think, yeah, that's right, or yeah, that's wrong. But, you know, as far as Freemasonry, I could not be a Freemason at all. I'd always be late because I'm terrible at timekeeping, so I'd always be late. I'd always leave it up to the last minute to, you know, iron my apron or my pinny.
Yeah.
And if you look around, if you look at a lot of photographs of Freemasons, and I know there's a lot of young ones in it, young people in it, but most of them are like really old, doddery old people. And I think, nah, that's, you know, and judging, they all, you never see a Freemason's picture where everybody's laughing and having a good time.
Well, bloody judges.
Absolutely, that's it. Absolutely, yeah. You know, and they look down on everybody else because they're elevated. They've been elevated by their own ego, by their, you know, it makes people feel more important. Oh, I've been invited into the Freemasons. Yeah, so it's sort of like, it's a peer group. So if you're in a peer group with Motohead, there's a link to the original live stream on Rob's channel if you want to come over here.
Yeah, I was going to say, people, if you're going to come over, you can. There is a link you can to break it out to your social media.
Yeah.
You know, which will be great. I started a stream this evening. You will notice my avatar is a can of Bud Light, and the theme was, you know, what is going on in the world. I had a interesting walk through a very small town where I am. That's like, it was stuck in late 80s, and there was a red pillbox, and I got in it, and I did think about the thought, when the phone was attached, man was free. And if you think about it, there was no social media before 2003, 2004. And in the space of 16 years, the world has gone absolutely insane.
Yeah.
There was none of this wokery, transgender thing before. Well, there was, but it was very quiet. But before the lockdown, there was none of it. And now we've got people that believe biological men can give birth, can have periods. We've got, but like I said to Richard earlier, we've got biological males shoving frozen tomato sachet sauces up their bottom and saying they're having periods. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's one for you, Rob. Woke, the word woke. When did woke become?
Yeah.
When did it become, as in being awakened? I woken up. When did it transition from being, you know, to be aware, to wake up, to be woke? When did it transition from that to what it is now, which is, to me, I don't know how you describe it really, but being woke.
You know, definition. Before the lockdown, I don't think it was around.
No, well, it's one of these, you know, it's somebody puts these things out there. Like the origins of the word nice. I did a video on this about, I don't know, 3 years ago. The origins of the word nice. Have a nice day. Now, nice basically means ignorant. That's the original etymology of the word nice, is ignorant. Like a pushover. Oh, you're nice. You're a pushover. So this have a nice day pretty much translates into have an ignorant day. But just little things that, like the word woke.
Oh, then, mate. Yeah. When did the word woke arrive before lockdown? Because nobody was saying it before lockdown.
No. I mean, I'm woke. I woke up. Well, I woke up. What does that mean? That means when I woke up, I was asleep, and then I woke up. But now it's been transformed into something that's totally opposite. It pretty much means you've gone back to sleep.
Well, no, just in my opinion, it's not gone back to sleep. It's just batshit crazy. You can't speak to some of these. You can't speak to these people.
Oh, here's the thing. Now, 2020, 2020 was a big rollout because, like I say, 2020 it was lockdown. They rolled out the old Gee Whiz up the road. In my thing. Now, there's something I mentioned this on I was on a live stream last night, I think, and I was talking about Crimson Mist, Operation Crimson Mist. Are you familiar with that?
And
it was a genocide in Rwanda, where what they actually did was it was frequencies, pretty much enraged the nation to go to
bonkers,
to go bonkers and genocide. And over 1 million people died. Over 1 million people were murdered, not died, were murdered. So when they've got this, when they've got these frequency towers up, they know that they can manipulate the mind with certain frequencies.
Yep. So
perhaps at that time, and this new agenda, this Bud Light agenda, Bud Lightyear, you know, perhaps that's back in 2020, that was the implementation of this frequency that was going to alter the perception of the mind, prompted by mainstream media and prompted by the woke movement, combined with all this climate stuff, you know, sort of putting people in a state of confusion, really, and then getting on the woke train. So I'm sort of wondering if in 2020, because it didn't really occur to me that it's sort of moved on in the since lockdown, you said, that this agenda pretty much boomed at that sort of time, didn't it?
Yeah.
And people were relying on the internet and mainstream television, mainstream media for their source of information, because they were locked up, and the source of reality, we'll call it, in whatever they're called, speech marks. So yeah, wokery. So they've sort of altered language is altered, you know, and they're doing it with the gender words and this and that. Something quite sinister is going on, and it's got to be the silent weapon. That silent weapon that is
this is what I think it is. It's a very big distraction for whatever is coming. It's like we said before when we spoke, cause a distraction here, so everybody's looking here at this while we do something over here. They've used it for decades.
That's it.
But now with the advent of obviously social media and everybody's, all these TikTok brigade, they're all looking at what's happening with Dylan McVaney. And I feel sorry for this kid because it's going to end up tragic. But they're all looking over here while they're doing whatever they're doing here. And that sort of brings me on to the 23rd of April in the UK with the government alarm systems coming on.
Yeah.
Something very big coming, and they're causing Dylan McVaney is a distraction. Everybody's looking at him now, and Bud Light. They're taking their eye off what they're doing.
That's a point. Plus, we've got a coronation coming up. The coronation's coming up at some point, isn't it? Yeah. My mum pointed this out. I had a chat with my mum. She comes down once a month. She said, "Oh, the next time I'm scheduled, hello London. If you want to come on, please do. Please do. And if you come on, you know you can share this to your live stream. But if you click the link at the top, Adrian, to come over to Rob's channel here, Watching Observer's channel, maybe subscribe if you feel that way. And you know, your input is you know, you're in London, bruv, so you know you're probably familiar with what's going on over there with the, what was it, the ULEZ and things like that. What the sort of kickback is against that, etc. How people are actually waking up, what they're doing. And the fact that it's not, these little protests aren't reported on the mainstream like your BBC. They don't report. It doesn't mean that this kickback isn't happening at grassroots level. You know, and that it's not having an effect on other people. So it's not a growing movement kicking back against the New World Order and the one world government, because it is a growing.
People are kicking back, but just not in this country. It takes France for an example.
Oh, that's kicking back. That's kicking back in a specific way. The way that the French, the way only the French know how to do. Really, and that is pretty much the way I see it. Is you know, it's more of a destructive element. Whereas if you, I mean, I can remember back in, I think it was like mid-70s when in St. Paul's, it was like the Jamaican community was set up in Bristol. It was called St. Paul's and Easton, and they had the St. Paul's riots. They had them in Brixton and Toxteth back in, I think it was 76, something like that. But what they actually did was they totally destroyed their community. And I think, well, you know, that's counteractive, really, because why destroy your own environment and your own community by trying to prove a point? You want to keep your houses and buildings up intact. You know, you don't want to go burning your neighbour's cars or setting fire to your neighbour's property or anything like that. You want to keep that intact. And I mean, this might well be a military maneuver. Is you move with stealth. So first, you don't let the enemy know exactly what you're up to.
Well, that goes back to me saying Dylan McVaney and the Bud Light thing is a massive distraction to whatever this alarm is on the 23rd of April. Yeah,
that'll be interesting. That, and this is the thing, they say you won't be able to use your phone unless you click the link.
Yeah, what's that about?
Exactly, what's that about? That's what's that about. And I'm long maintainers. You don't. If I reference the Bible, we also we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness and high places. Now, high places will include your Vodafones, your I can't think of any other ones. Vodafone, EE, any of them, any of these worldwide big corporations, your Walmarts, just anybody, your Tesco's, even these people, they are considered, in my opinion, to be high places. You know, like your supermarkets have done away with the independents almost. So they're probably the only places to shop would be in the massive supermarkets, and you don't get to be in a high place of high influence like your Vodafones and your British Telecoms, etc. You don't get to be in these places without signing up to some sort of agenda. You won't get permission to put up these masts unless you sign up to actually this agenda. Now, whether they're doing it in ignorance or, it's motivated by progression and keeping up with the Joneses, like Vodafone will do 5G because Orange have done 5G, or EE, whatever it is now, or Free Mobile or anything like that. Any of these big companies that keeping up with the Joneses, or they just say, right, okay, so they're governed by the high order Freemasons.
Yep.
So spiritual wickedness, every high place. The last high place that I perceived was the monarchy, because the world is now governed by the health of the world is now governed by a central agency. The military of, what was it, 2/3 of the world or half of the world is governed by another, the UN, NATO. You've got the UN. You've got just central. What's the central bank? You've got the World Economic Forum. These have all been given permission by the individual governments of individual countries. They've been given permission to pretty much set the standard and set the laws and set the rules. So, but I reckon the monarchy is the last high place to be governed by the spiritually wicked. Now, the Queen, in my opinion, I think it's about 1/3 of the population of the world is owned by the monarchy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they're certainly on the land.
And that includes America, North America. So they got dominion over a lot of people. Then if you look at religion, you look at Roman Catholics, they've got a massive influence over a massive amount of people, despite all the nasties that come with the Vatican, etc., and abuses and things like that. They've still maintained. People haven't said, oh, I don't like the fact that naughtiness goes on. They still continue with it. So it's sort of like a spell. Somebody mentioned spell casting earlier on. London's on another channel. But I think in my research, I guess it seems when Charlie is made the official head of the monarchy, which will be the official head of the Commonwealth, that would be the last bastion of a high place. So something's going to happen around about that, and I'm not sure when it is. It might be in about, it's in July, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
So July, that day, that'll be a turning point. I think that'll be them in absolute control of the citizenry of the world in their minds, you know. So it's a big year this year. It's a big year, and I challenge anybody. This is just out of my own, just from my own research, really, to think of something that isn't governed by big organization, big corporation. You know, there's one world religion come in, there's one world currency come in. We've already pretty much, you know, it's like the war in what is going on now, the big one. I think there's another one, Sudan. They've just gone to war, haven't they? Over something.
Personally, I think it's all they're all just linking up to. I've not mentioned this for a while. They're I talked about it a couple of years back, going after the last national bank that is actually standing. That is in Iran. It's got its own. It's not owned by anybody. It's actually owned by the country. No other country's got dibs in it. Iran, it's their own national bank, and I think it's all just one big excuse to get round to that eventually.
Yeah. So because of BRICS, that's Brazil, Russia, Iran, and China.
Okay.
Yeah, the BRICS nations, they've stuck Iran in there now. I think Iran's sort of like the, as far as geography goes, it's the closest. It'd be the closest to the West, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to be used as the middle ground for a war between China and the rest of the world, Europe. I don't know, but there's got to be. I mean, it's like Britain. We've got away with so much over the last 3 years, but you know, we're a walkover. We'd be a walkover if the military just wanted to stomp through from Ireland, because Ireland, I think they're fighting. I think they want to come out of Europe, but they're still in Europe, so they're still governed. But if you look at Ireland as a hopping stone between America and Russia, Britain, we know they've already got military bases dotted all over the UK, Britain. But I just see England as or Britain as a stepping stone, like it was during the Second World War. It was a stepping stone, wasn't it? And then you invade France, go through France. So, but you know, I think it's just so important to maintain that community link.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm still here, because I could quite happily say, pardon the expression, but I would quite happily, I could quite easily, or it would be in my remit to say, fuck it, Taunton, I'm going to hide up in North Wales. I've got family up there. I can just go and lose myself. I might get an extra year of being able to walk in the woods and breathe fresh air and walk up the mountains and, you know, do dry stone walling. You know, all I want is food and shelter. I don't really want anything else. Come off the internet, come off the cell phones, and just live without the track and trace elements. But no, I think no. I'm going to stay here because it's a reason I'm still here. It is a spiritual one. I felt it as soon as I got here, and you know, they had the Monmouth revolutions from here. This is where Judge Jeffreys, I think it was about 120 people in one day got hung in Taunton because of the Monmouth revolution against the monarchy of the time. And I'm not overly familiar with the details of it, but I know that Judge Jeffreys, who's called the hanging judge, conducted trials, unjust trials, for treason against the monarchy, really, that they deemed as against the state. But it was a tyrannical King James, that might have been. I'm shit with history, mate. I can't tell you the genealogy of the monarchs. I'll go back to the Queen, and then
I think it was King James III.
Was it? Yeah, yeah. It rings a bell. Rings a bell. But but there's something. And I can remember as a child growing up and beyond, there was an advert on television. It was dry blackthorn cider from the Taunton Cider Company.
I remember that.
It was, yeah. And so there's a slight irony to me, and it's only like 40 or 50 miles up the road from here. But there's a slight irony to me ending up in Taunton, because the memory of that advert, was that some sort of sign to say, Richard, you love cider, yeah? You're going to end up in the home of dry blackthorn, which has changed over the years. But it's just something. But I'm here. Wherever we move to, we're going to be, unless we're moving into the woods on our own, we're going to be part of a community, or we'll ostracize ourselves. And there's unity in numbers. It's just getting the numbers up that are on the same page. And like I say, I don't promote how many people are in my little gang or anything like that, or how many people are in the gang I'm a member of, or the group I'm a member of, or the community I'm a member of. I give my phone number out to so many people, and I say, right, when the time comes that you don't know what to do, they're going to ask you to do something, even those that have had a cure, that you don't know, what they're going to bring in next. Might be, like here's one, might be sticking a chip up your ass. There's Boo Boo there.
Hello, Malibu Sky.
Yeah, you come on up, Boo, if you want. There's a link to Rob's channel here where the live is, and I think the link will be there if you want to come on and say hello. It'd be nice to have a quick chat with you again. But well,
the theme is of the stream is what is going on in the world.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm 46 now, and the world has gone to hell in a handbasket over this past 3 years.
Yeah.
And why? What is going on, and where is it going?
Yeah.
Is the question. People want to come on and chat me and Richard have had a good ding dong. Feel free, by all means.
Yeah. Now, I first got on the internet around about 2001, 2002.
Was that dial-up?
I can't remember what it was. So it was back then. We didn't have internet shopping in the UK and Britain. We didn't have internet shopping. People didn't have business websites or anything like that. It was all pretty new back then. So I did most of my communication on the internet in America with Americans. Now, Americans have been, I think at the time the quote was between 80 and 85% of all business in America back in 2000 was done online. So for me to advance my internet knowledge, how to use the internet, how to develop websites, etc., the only place I could actually do it was communicate with America and Americans. So, and what I actually realized back then was what happened in America will eventually at some point happen in Great Britain. And it was a pattern that I noticed way back then. So I was put in that position of pretty much probably being forced to communicate with America. And, just to be a witness to how things were. They'd be trialed in America or introduced in America and then trialed here. It's like the microplastics, that thing they had a while back, microbeads and things like that. That was like 18 months prior to that. was introduced into America, like the wood burning stove ban. 18 months prior, and that was Michael Gove introduced that, I don't know, 4 years ago, something like that. That was trialed or introduced in America 18 months prior to it being introduced into Great Britain.
Do you know what it all sounds like to me, mate? It all sounds like it's all been scripted and planned for decades.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, there's this have you heard of Free World Wars? Albert Pike's Free World Wars. Now I still maintain that we're in the Second World War. The Second World War didn't end. They just, you know, the Nazis just moved over to America.
Well, they do. They took the rocket scientists, simply went to America. The rocket scientists are now formed NASA.
Yeah, Werner von Braun. However, they didn't just take rocket scientists. They also took those that experimented on human beings. The Nazis that experimented on human beings with their, you know, psychological studies, etc. How to manipulate the mind, and that's going back to not the, you know, it's going to be going back to 1945, isn't it? 1944, 45. So they've had, and you know, how long were the Germans working on the psychology, understanding the psychology of the human being? Well, if you go back to 1933, when was it the German Socialist Party? They sort of learned how to, you mentioned it, how they managed to understand frequency and vibration and to manipulate like music from 432, which is like a harmonious frequency, up to 440, which is like what happened with Hitler's speeches, didn't it? How can you rile up a nation to go to war? Well, you fuck around with the mind of the people by altering the frequency at which you
it's the brain resonance.
That's it, exactly that, so you know, just by tweaking it very, very slightly, you can introduce a different frequency and resonance and emotion in people. So they've been doing that for 33 on probably, you know, 90 years, definitely at least, you know, 70 or 80 years. They've been practicing mind control, MK Ultra, TI, targeting individuals, all these little things they've been working on up to this moment, when they can just, without anybody having the power to say, no, we don't want gee whiz, we don't want this, we don't want that, because they've sort of coerced people into saying, well, if you have the next generation of cell phone generations, the old gee whiz, you can get the internet quicker, you can do this quicker, you can, you know. So it's just that coercion into accepting something that is in the perception of the people en masse, really, but particularly youth, you know, that is going to improve their lives, when in fact what they're actually doing is being you know, given crumbs that lead into a trap. You know. But this is what I would say to anybody, is don't underestimate the power of what's happening in the real world. And don't judge what's happening in the real world by what you see on YouTube and social media.
Well, the real world we are not privy to. We're too distracted to pay attention to what's going on in the real world.
No, this is the thing. What's going on in the real world is one of those covert operations, Rob. What's going on in my community is, you know, there might be about 200 people that have got my phone number. And if I get, even if I just get one person that says, Richard, you were spot on with what you said, I don't want to do this, what can I do now? Particularly when you play on people that have children, you just say, right, the children are after, and it is without doubt the children are after.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of the guardians of the children, which is the parents and the and people like me. I'm not a parent, but I'm a guardian of children. So they want to get rid of the guardians of children. Once they've got rid of the old age pensioners, once they've got rid of those that are prepared to give their lives in, for example, the military, prepared to give their lives, once they've gotten rid of those people, what have they got left to defend? They just got a load of men walking around with dresses, stilettos.
Well, that's the war on masculinity, really. That's all part of it. You know, once we've got a generation and a society with no fight, that's checkmate.
Yeah. Boo. There's a link at the top. What I'm doing is directing everybody's. Yeah, get rid of all the elders. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only one commenting, ban the chat box spammer. Now, come on over to, if you come on over to Rob's channel, the links should be pinned at the top, Boo. If you want it again, I'll sling it. And then if you come over to this channel, I think the link, I'm not sure whether the chat that's going on Rob's live stream here is actually coming out on my live stream, but come on over to Rob's channel, because you know, it's a gathering of the awoke.
Gathering of minds.
It's a gathering of minds, a gathering of experiences, it's a gathering of intelligence.
If Malibu does come on, I would like Malibu to tell me what is going on in the world. Why are billion-dollar corporations paying biological men millions of dollars to promote women's products? What is going on?
Yeah. What's that? The pro super soldiers in the US have allegedly had to sign something that they were file on peace protests. This is the thing about America. What I've noticed, particularly with their police, they're so aggressive. They seem pumped up. There's a lot of fat ones. There's also a lot of really pumped up people.
There's a really interesting comment actually, because you see what's happening in this country with all the guys, people coming across on boats are of military age.
Yeah.
And they have said in this country what they're coming over for. They are going to be the ones pulling the triggers when our own soldiers won't do it.
Yeah.
They are of military age. They're not women and children.
No. Yeah.
They are the ones. Yeah, they are the ones who will pull the trigger when our own soldiers won't do it.
Yeah.
A lot of them are already military.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they're, you know, you just got to look across Europe at the lack of respect they've got.
Yeah.
And the aggression that they demonstrate. But this is what I do. Like I mentioned, I've got a few friends that are Muslim, Turkish. And I say to them, listen, you know, at some point you're going to be asked to fight me.
Yeah.
And I said, but this is what I say. You know, we both got a common enemy.
Yeah.
There's one common enemy between everybody that they divided one way or another.
The government.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say that just in case, but yeah.
Oh, I know, mate. I know. I've done my time at Speaker's Corner in London. Okay, I'm going to bring Malibu on. Malibu, you want to tell me what's going on in the world? You know, why are they waging war on masculinity? What is happening? And why has it gone bonkers in less than 3 years since the lockdown?
Say the last part. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Just the last one.
Hey, Boo.
Okay. Let me get rid of that. Good evening. Good evening. Hello there.
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good. Hello, Boo. How are you?
I'm well. I hear what he's saying. Well, as far as what's happening in terms of masculinity,
yeah.
Well, my first thought would be because it's the Baphomet agenda. So you won't, men, the most perfect human, I guess that's what you call him, is the female that has a, excuse my verbiage, but penis.
Yeah.
So they don't want real men, and they don't want real women either. They don't want any live. We know they just want to birth babies in incubators, and the mother will have a relationship through Bluetooth from 10,000 miles away. I mean, this is ridiculous. Hatching 30,000 babies at once. Give me a freaking break. You think that's gonna hatch good people? But I would say that's a big part of it, because you can't have real men, because the real men are the women now. Isn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what they want. They want that, is what from what I've seen, and I don't know for sure. But my parents were in the clothing business, and the only reason I bring this up is because my father, he was very funny, and he would say, who are these, excuse the language, these, and he wasn't anti-homosexual. Who are these homosexuals on Madison Avenue telling women what the hell they should look like? Oh, did I get bumped?
No, he still is. Go on. I think if you don't, as long as you don't swear, the AI won't pick up on it.
Okay, no swearing.
Yeah.
So,
I can tell you're passionate.
He was saying, you've got these guys on Madison Avenue that are dictating to everyone what it needs to be like, rather than encouraging people to have their own independent feelings about how they want to dress or whatever it is. Funny enough, they've always said that for women to wear makeup, that is against, it's not, the Bible says no, or somewhere religiously, that women aren't to wear makeup. Do you know why that is?
Go on.
Because the men were always using the makeup to make themselves look like women. That's part of it. I don't have to go get you but it goes back obviously, very far away. It has to do with men presenting themselves as women. And then look at the Greek gods for sure. These gods, many of the women are actually men, such as the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Apollo or who that is. I'm not sure.
I agree.
But that's why we can't have traditional men and women anymore. And do you see these transgender people attacking women? I mean,
I do.
You want to be a woman and you're attacking women? This contradicts itself. Get the hell out. I mean, we are living.
It's not a woman attacking. It's not a woman attacking a woman. It's actual physical, biological male that is attacking Riley. You believe you're talking about Riley Gaines?
It's going on a lot, but I just saw something recently. And these trans women that we know, I'm sorry, but you're not a woman. You cannot be a woman. There's nothing that can turn you into one. But I'm sure they'll come up with it later, right? But right now, at this point, your chromosomes, you are not a woman, you're not a girl, and you can't be one. So why does it have to be that? You are born a sex that you don't relate to. So therefore, now you're assuming this role. But the whole world has to adjust to accommodate pronouns and all this bullshit. Sorry, I don't mean to be unkind. I just swore. And I'm not against.
I hear your passion. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm not anti-transgender. I want you to understand this. I'm not against transgender, and I'm not against homosexuality either, even though what the Bible says. I'm saying that I believe most people that are thinking that have been brainwashed and manipulated to think that, and chemicals also in the food, water, blah, 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 that makes you susceptible to questioning everything about yourself. I don't know. But we know. And then, did you see Jon Stewart arguing with a guy? I could drop the link. He's pissed off. This guy does not want drag queens performing for 5-year-olds in school. And
yes, I saw that earlier.
Come on, what are they doing? They're turning the whole world upside down. That's what they want. Invert the whole world. That's their thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as an adult, people can do what they like to themselves. I mean, my pronoun is hello now. But once they've introduced it into the curriculum for 5-year-olds, that is when the alarm bells should be ringing, really.
Do you know what I think if you look what's happening with what Malibu just said there, I think the fight back has actually started. especially in America. I think people have started to realise what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is the
I
thing.
agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that we're really exposing the shills and the pieces of crap that everybody wanted to put on pedestals. People like John Stewart. Oh, yeah, you know, he's about the right things. These are controlled opposition fucking people. Excuse me. Cancel the F word. I do cuss and I'm passionate.
Okay.
It's all, no, as we know, no one gets anywhere in this world unless you play the game according to the handlers and the people in control. That's it. No one has $20 million paydays. I don't care if it's on the football field, on the stage, or in music or anything. You don't get there without playing the game. So people like Shaq, Kobe, all those basketball players, football, they're all in on it. They can't. You don't get there. This just doesn't happen. This is how, and more it's going to become obvious. You know that.
I think it's becoming obvious now.
Yes. When a person like John, and I love it, they expose themselves. You see how his ugliness towards that man that just simply doesn't want drag queens in a god darn kindergarten room. Yeah. That pissed me off. How dare he? And he has kids. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's wrong. It becomes sexualizing children. Leave it alone. Like Richard just said, let them come into their own. Leave the kids alone. Like Pink Floyd said, leave them kids alone. Let them blossom. Let them grow. Stop brainwashing them with all. Look at children's programming. That's where it starts. And McDonald's and all those big corporations marketing towards children. It's been like this forever, really, decades with children.
Yeah.
Been coming for the kids for a long time, since we were kids. Richard and I are close in age. Absolutely, because look, I don't know about in your country, but in our country, McDonald's with the Happy Meals, Jack in the Box, collect these glasses. Everything is about, and it drives parents nuts. The kids constantly, I need this, I need $150 shoes because Michael Jordan said so. You know, it's all that. Those are those asses on Madison Avenue. I caught myself. The guys, and men, let's just say what they call them in the entertainment business is the pink mafia, because what it mostly is are homosexual men that are in control, basically. That's the general consensus based on research.
Yeah. Perversions. It's people with perversions, really, I think.
It's all what Malibu's saying. It's all fascinating stuff, but the question is why, when you get these drag artists performing to 5-year-olds, why do they need to perform to 5-year-olds? They obviously, because the 5-year-olds aren't going to have an opinion. Now you role reverse it and do that in front of a bunch of adults. You're going to get a different take on what you're doing. Yeah. If you understand what I mean.
Well,
it makes
drag shows have been quite a common thing, Rob, in pubs and clubs. Well, we've got a drag artist tonight.
But not in front of 5-year-olds.
No. This is kind of normalizing it to guys and gals in pubs. Oh, we've got a drag queen coming tonight. And what they generally were doing, and I've never actually watched a drag show, but there was a local pub up in Bristol. It's called the Pegasus, and it's a centre of council estate. It's just a council estate pub, really, and it's hard. But they have one in there, and I got a friend up there and said, "Oh, we've got a drag show tonight." But they don't actually do sexual things. They actually sing and tell jokes and entertain that way. It's not like doing dancing where they're showing their crotch and things like that, because I don't think they would have got away with that in that particular pub, of going there and shaking their arses and exposing their crotch, etc. It was a way of entertainment. And okay, if you look at Widow Twankey and pantomimes, there's always a pantomime dame, but it wasn't. There wasn't anything sexual about that. There was innuendo, but it wasn't. It was innuendo. Children don't understand innuendo. They didn't.
Yes, but children understand being confused by seeing a man dressed as a woman, and it's the entree to manipulating their minds to question their sexuality.
100%.
Say it is a sexual act, even if they're not showing. Look, when a drag queen hits that stage, she's swanging that behind. Come on. So it's not necessary. Keep it why do children have to see that shit? Now let's go back to La Cage aux Folles. In the 80s and in the 70s, they were normalized. The sexual revolution was all about bisexuality because it's the Brave New World agenda. Okay. And, oh God, I lost because this is stuff I get really, you can see I get passionate about it because why are they doing, okay. Yes. I want to talk about literature now that they're peering into the schools. And you have a lot, maybe I'm not in your country, so I don't know what's happening there. But here, the parents, thank God, they're going to the school boards and saying, what is this stuff giving my 6-year-old kid talking about whatever it is, bisexuality, homosexuality, and it's all about sexuality to little children. Why?
Yeah.
The sicko who need children that sex really before the age of 17, 18, I would say people aren't ready for sexual relationships. I don't think. I would just to the side of being a little bit older before you start getting into sex. But regardless, sex change operations, no, they should not be allowing children to have sex. And you know what? They're making it here without parental consent. Maybe that's in Canada, but they're letting children change their sex without parental consent. What is going on? Guys, come on.
I mean, children become sexually aware at 10, 12, 13. I have friends at school, 13, lost his virginity to a teacher, funny enough. But he was still sort of aware. But this is the thing. They're teaching these obscure sexualities before they actually teach the reproductive system.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the reproductive system. They're introducing, ketchup, the bottom, ketchup. They're just introducing all these oddities before they introduce the natural reproductive cycle of man with woman.
The insanity of you can be, in my world, you can be whatever you want to be, but don't try and force your opinion on other people if they don't want to hear it. Now, the insanity of the transgender brigade of shoving frozen tomato sachets up their bottom and saying they're having a period is absolutely farcical to me.
Yeah.
Wait, they are actually doing that?
Yeah, that started in this country.
Let me just tell you something. I'm a real woman, and you'd have to be a real stupid idiot to want to have a period. It's very period means that you should be able to have children.
Seriously, Malibu. Seriously, that is what's happening now.
That's crazy. That is insane.
In this, because obviously these individuals are taking frozen tomato sauce sachets and shoving up their anal passage and saying they're having a menstrual cycle, which is just
that's bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Oh, but I wanted to make a point about Le Cage aux Folles that came out in the 80s. Now, who starred in that? The other actors were not mainstream American. They were French, I believe. As I recall. But it was Robin Williams, the lead comic actor of the time, and he played a very gay, effeminate man. And this was normalizing this whole drag stuff in the 80s. Because in the 70s, you have that drag stuff that was probably going on in San Francisco, the underground stuff, because we know that gay people really have been very afraid to come out. Even now, they still are. But this is going like craziness. And lastly, did you know that, because the rumor is that a lot of these Hollywood actresses are actually not really born men. Did you know that Sandra Bullock and Bullock, do you know what Bullock means?
Go on.
It means a neuter bull. Her first job was she was the opening act in a drag club. I'm sorry. Gay men do drag. They don't want women around. I believe that's not born a woman. And I've met her. She looked like a woman. But if you look at her early pictures of her, she looks like a boy. So there you go.
Wow.
People hate about that. Men get all, oh no, shit, those are women. Those are women. No, they're not all women. They're not. No, they're not. I don't know. I can't tell you who is and who isn't, but I can show you the ones I've looked at that look pretty convincing. And I don't buy this thing that she was an opening act as a young girl in a. I just don't believe it. Do you? Doesn't that sound weird?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, bizarre, right? Crazy, you guys. But that's what it is. I mean, I think that answers your question about why the masculinity thing is being removed, and also to end it, the NPC, the politically correct view, the snowflake marshmallow, what the person with no emotion at all. This is what they want. You have no emotion. That's why a person like me, she's crazy. Because I elevate my voice. I use my voice for impact. I use profanity for impact and shock value. I use my voice in that way intentionally. But now I'm a crazy person, and anybody that gets pissed off about something is crazy. No, they're not. They're not dead. They're alive. They're in opposition of something, and they're passionate. It's normal to get heated, but not to go too far, because that doesn't help us, right? But to be passionate, that's a bad thing? When?
Well, that's when did that become a bad thing? But it seems that is what they want. A dumb, awake society is no good to the agenda of whatever they've got coming.
Right. It's just like in the Brave New World, which I'm going to be reading on my channel soon.
Yep.
What they want is no intimacy. So you'll remember the character. The one girl is kind of falling for one of the characters. I don't remember the characters' names. And another person says to her, "Take the soma and go screw somebody else." I'm paraphrasing. No. You can't get attached to one person. You need to be with all kinds of people. You never limit yourself to one person. And the soma is the pill. Just take the pill and quiet all those desires to have real relationships and become an automaton. Take the soma. Now, the funny thing is the pharmaceuticals came out with a drug called soma. I mean, they are so in our faces with this stuff. It's not even funny. Sorry for the water.
No. You take a drink. I'm totally agree with you. But you know, a dumbed down, apathetic society is going to be a lot easier to control for whatever is coming in this country on the 23rd of April. We have our mobiles will be. Do you know about this? Our mobiles will be taken over by a government. This is happening on the 23rd of April in this country. Our mobiles will be taken over. It's by Vodafone are taking charge of it. Government warning alarm that we have to accept, or we will not be able to use our mobile phones.
Oh my gosh! And you want to know what? It's very similar to something they're trying to pass here. That you can be imprisoned for It's illegal to download TikTok from one state. They've made it illegal, and it's called the Restrict Act. And what they want to do is remove your right to have a VPN also, and make it punishable by I think 20 years in jail and $1 million fine if you have a VPN protecting your privacy.
Wow.
These bad things. Can you imagine?
Do you think that's the same thing here? The Restrict Act.
If they're doing that with what they're doing with your phones, that feels a lot. It feels like a very similar kind of act to do that. It's
midnight.
It's communism. They get scared about Russia and China. No, you don't need to worry about those people. You need to be worried about what's going on right here. They're already here. These bad people that are going to do even worse than what goes on in those countries. I mean, it'll be on steroids. It's not going to be, I swear to you, in my view, what we've always thought about being so oppressive and terrible in Russia and China, you ain't seen nothing.
No.
I mean, just the 19...
People are too distracted.
1958 version of 1984 is it is a very amazing film, and everybody should see that particular one. Why? Because they bring it home in a subtle way much better than the one that's more out there with the restrictive kind of nature, that a dystopian thing, reality that they want to bring, right?
Yeah.
But the very end, well, and also in A Brave New World, you know, what happens in the end is the character commits suicide. I mean, it's bleak. And in 1984, it's where they've separated those two people that were in love, right? And it's so, I could start crying just thinking of it. You will have no support. You will be completely isolated. You will not have a life worth living. And that's why I say, give me liberty or give me death.
Wow.
Is where everybody really needs to be at a certain point. I'm not saying go out with a gun and kill people, but I'm saying if you don't have your liberty, you don't have a life worth living.
You don't have anything.
That's right.
You know,
and I'm sorry for taking over the conversation. I haven't talked to anybody in a bit, but I do want to shout out to your chat because I can't see it. Then say hello to everybody, and sorry for not responding to the chat because I get sidetracked and my memory's not good. But I think I've kind of put out all I really have to say, and whatever you guys have to say on those matters, I think. But it's just it's terrible. And also, lastly, the digital currency. Okay. So your thing, when you started about April, I thought you were going to say they're going to force us to have the digital currency in April. But this is another thing that it is such a massive problem. It is beyond words.
Yeah.
We can't let it happen. Can't let it happen. Hey, did you hear about Jamie Dimon? Jamie Dimon, the head of that big bank in America they bailed out a few years ago. He is involved with that pervert pedo island dude, Jeff Epstein.
Jeff Epstein.
Okay. His name on there. Sorry. Yeah. He's coming out that they were behind financing him. Lehman Brothers, Merrill Lynch.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Sick.
Doesn't bother me at all.
You guys think the answer is, because I also like to try to figure out like what kind of action steps. Because Richard's good at that too, because he's an activist. I don't know you very well, but I think action steps are really important for us, because when we're looking at this negative stuff, and we have to balance it with something that gives us equilibrium. Do you know what I mean? I think that it's important to remember to keep our balance, because this kind of stuff can really have very devastating effects on our mental and physical health.
Agreed. It's going to be interesting to see what's coming. I mean, like I said, in this country, when it turns 12 o'clock midnight, 23rd of April, you're going to get this government alarm, and you've got to press accept, or your mobile phone is inert. What is that?
God. That's major. That, to me, that sparked revolution type, like rioting, protests. Like, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how it can. And bravo to the citizenry of France for standing up to that piece of crap.
Macron.
Macron did. He's a magician. He come to table. He's talking about austerity. He's got $80,000 watch on wrist. He put his hands under table. Presto changeo. No more $80,000 watch, because somebody probably told him through the earpiece, get rid of that watch.
Oh yeah, it was flashing the bling till he realized, then he took it off.
How funny was that? Is so perfect to show you how scandalous and disgusting these people are. What liars.
Have you wondered why
politicians give a damn about us? They don't. They are not even politicians, really. They're just actors and puppets, and they are given a script. And again, I'm not going back to quoting George Carlin, but it's the illusion of choice that we don't have. It's just an illusion.
It's an illusion,
and it's getting it's coming to fruit on the 23rd. I tell you.
Have you done the numbers on April the 23rd?
Not.
Let me tell you.
Recommend no fear porn, but have water and supplies and whatever in case you enter into some kind of lockdown situation where the government tells you can't leave your houses because shit starts breaking out. I'm just saying to be on the safe side, and everyone should be prepared in that way, because we know stuff is coming down the pike. We just don't know when, but it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talk to a lot of people on the street. I'm like the woman on the street asking people. And the majority of the people I speak to, when they, I talk about the Second Amendment and all that, they're like, oh, no, they're not taking our guns. We're ready to fight them over that. Every single person I've asked about this have said the same thing. We are looking at revolution type stuff. I mean, people are not going to let it, they're not going to roll over easily with this, what they're doing. They're not. In this country, I don't think in yours either. I mean, look, I don't know because I think you guys get out there and do some pretty good protesting. I've seen it in the past.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get a Clue was put in the comments. We have accepted all this encroachment for decades.
That's the problem, because when 9/11 happened, which was the thing that stripped most of our rights in most countries, right? The people were so freaked out, and they couldn't put their head on straight to understand this is an absolute can't happen. It was allowed to happen. You got to have no brains. You're brainwashed if you don't know this. Why was I bringing up? So with 9/11, people would say, and even after the Edward Snowden NSA leak stuff, people were saying, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't care if they listen to me. I'm not doing anything wrong. That's not the point, you idiot. You have a right to some privacy. Does the government need to know what you ate for dinner, how much sex you're having or not? No, you should have some things that are your own privacy. That's it. People allowed it. Oh, I'm not doing it.
The government are a little bit too involved in our lives. Oh,
entirely. And so every politician is corrupt, because if they don't come in corrupt, they get compromised. That's what happens.
This is very true. Me and Richard were having this conversation about a politician over here who was Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow. Back in the day, he was having all these plans and everything, and they don't start off corrupt until they get in the houses of power, and then they are told to toe the line or they'll be out.
Yep. You know what's a great film to watch? And I don't promote the entertainment business, but in the 40s, there was a Frenchman that made a film about the Freemasons. And he was a politician, and the character in the film, excuse me, and they came to him. And so they make it sound really great. You're going to get so much support with your business and this and that, or whatever I think the guy was a politician. I don't remember exactly. But then when they starting to tell him what he's going to have to do and things that are against his moral fiber, in the film, they kill the guy. And the film was banned, and the director was also murdered. Everyone should go have a look at that.
What's the name of the film?
I'll find it for you, and I'll send the information to Richard.
Yeah,
I'll drop it. I need to sub to you, and I'll find it for you. It's on BitChute. That is what it is. And is it always those people that you're not even allowed to say that word anymore? FMs. I'm calling them the FMs because they're so much part of this control system. So talking about them, they're going to start cracking down on that. You're not going to be allowed to talk about that either.
You're not wrong. Again, I'll keep going back to this 23rd of April in this country. The government what an invasion of privacy that is. Actually taking over your mobile phone, and you have to accept the message, or you can't turn your phone on.
Well, what do you got? So I would like to hear each of you, because you're there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? Each of you. How do you feel about it? What is your reaction to it, or everything you've gone through, knowing this is coming? I would love to hear that.
Well, you can switch a notification off. That's an option.
But then what happens?
If you switch it. The message. The thing is, though, the message, you switch notifications off, but the message apparently is still going to be there, and you've got to accept it.
Oh,
Richard, you have no choice. You have to accept it or not.
I said to my Vodafone provide my phone and internet, and I said as soon as 5G comes up on my phone, that's the end of my contract.
Yep.
And I got a landline, so I've got that.
That's good. That's good, Richard.
The thing about the date is April the 23rd.
Yeah.
23rd of April. Well, now this is what we say in Great Britain. It's the 23rd of April. We put the day before the date, day before the month.
Right. 23rd April.
You got 2, 3, 4. Now there is something called reverse. Is a reverse number. If you add 2, 3, 4 to 4, 3, 2,
Yep.
you get clickety click 666. So 4, 3, 2 and 2, 3, 4 are known numbers for signaling in the spheres that I research. 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, but 4, 3, 2 is also that resonance.
That's
4, 3, 2.
Is that the good one or the bad one? I always get it mixed up.
That's the good one. That's the brain resonance. That's what they don't make music in anymore.
So that's a good one. 432. I'm writing it down. I always use frequencies, but I forget.
Yeah. 432 and 528 or 538 is the other one.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I mentioned, it's like Hitler had his. I don't know who his propaganda minister was. Was it Goebbels or Goring? One of the two. Who was it?
Was it Mengele?
No, I think it was either Goering or Goebbels was the propaganda minister.
Yep.
And he was the one that, I mean, he wasn't the one that actually come up with the idea, but he's the one that promoted it to Adolf to change the speeches from 4-3-2, which is your harmony. And then it was, I think the music industry then was forced to adopt the 440.
Yeah.
Now, I've listened to 432s and I've listened to 440s, and I can't tell, really, I don't think I can tell the difference off the bat. But
have you ever done it with do it with headphones on?
Yeah, I don't wear headphones.
Then you can't do it too loud. But what happens to me when I listen to these things, about 10, 15 minutes in, if it's no good, I start having a panic attack. Like my body tells me, and I have to shut it off.
Yeah.
But I find great ones that I can listen to for hours for sleep. They even have ones for anti-aging that will make you look younger. And then I'm telling you, I've got all kinds of great ones. But when you said the date, what I thought is, the first thing is what I want to look up is major events that have happened on that date in the past. That's as a researcher. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I consider myself a researcher more than a truther. I'm a researcher. I want the facts. So what I do is look up who was born on that day and what event occurred on that day, because obviously there's got to be relevance because numbers are their thing. So we do have that the Timothy McVeigh, was he born on that day, terrorist, or was these are birthdays. These are birthdays. I wanted what happened on the day. Things in historical events of this day. That's
I'm on a website. It's called onthisday.com.
Oh, cool.
I'm just typing in
Spain declared war. Listen, Spain declared war on the United States in 1898 on this date. Spain's Franco government was recognized by the United States on this date in 1939. 1945, the U.S. 10th Army landed on Okinawa on this day. 1970, Nixon signs the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act, which is really interesting because they had doctors pushing that crap, that it was good for you. And I do think that tobacco does have healing properties.
Yeah, that's to do with America.
Yes, Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic was arrested. 2013, France approved same-sex marriage on that day. Yeah.
1968, the first decimal coins were issued in Britain. 1984, AIDS virus identified. Primary deficiency syndrome. Let me get them all types.
In 1985, I'm gonna go tag team with you. In 1985, in USA, the Coca-Cola company announced that it changed its formula and would be known as New Coke, which actually was one of the worst things they ever did. And in 1984, Marvin Gaye was murdered by his own father. But whether or not those things can have some relevance, because most things have some relevance in this world we're living in to the people that are running it.
1348, the Order of Garter, founded by English King Edward III. 1348.
In 1938, in Austria, the persecution of the Jewish people, the shopkeepers in Vienna were forced to picket their own shops with placards saying, "Don't buy from Jews." Franco being recognized by the U.S. on that day, that's pretty major. In 1994,
this is an affront on Britain.
What?
This is an affront on Britain.
Which one?
All you got to do is look at the way. Firstly, one thing is the way that there's a difference between America and American English and British English for some reason.
True.
And there's also, I think America are quite unique in the way they write the date.
Oh, you're saying because in the way you are understanding numbers, right? But what I'm saying in the big picture, you have it's a world issue. Who's in the people running the shit?
Yeah, but every nation, every country has got a different agenda. Now, America has got guns. Britain has got pitchforks. We've got nothing here, so there's going to be a different agenda with each and every nation.
Right, but at the end of the day, the overall agenda is the same. They want complete and total control.
Well, that's the overall agenda. We're talking about something that's happening in Great Britain on that specific day, where they are pushing this track and trace, because that's what I see it as fundamentally. It's track and trace and compliance. And just possibly seeing the kickback, seeing who, as much like the track and trace when that came out for the illness.
It is called a launch of life-saving public emergency alert system, a new government system that will give the government emergency services capability to send an alert directly to mobile phones when there is a risk to life. Will be launched on the 23rd of April.
Yeah. So from a perspective of Great Britain, because Boo, you might have the same thing roll out on a different date. This more
right.
You might have already had something that's been rolled out actually, but you might even have a similar thing coming over there. But this is the thing. What's happened? If you look at what's happened in Australia, New Zealand, India, Great Britain, America, every single nation has had a different approach over the last. The first 2 years of the last 3 years, they've all had a different approach because they're dealing with different land masses. If you look at Australia, I don't know what percentage of Australia is actually inhabited, but it's not a lot in comparison to the size of Australia. The same with America. The American forces have got people that can defend themselves with guns. So those guns, so they're hopefully going to put up a fight using their guns. We haven't got anything. We're a tiny, tiny little nation.
Yeah.
The infrastructure from you can get to from the top of the country to the bottom of the country in less than a day.
Right.
There's nowhere for people to run and hide in this country.
I will be heading to the Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say the caves in the Highlands.
Yeah.
That's where
if you look at a map of the 5G rollout, I think you'll find Scotland does actually have that system. People also use mobile phones. Nowhere, it's the Shetlands. They're going to have mobile phones in the Shetlands. They're going to have this. They're going to have. I mean, it's a worldwide. And I think they come out. they come out with these classified documents and these they let it be known to the world, these plans, because they have already got everything in place. They've got the infrastructure and they got the agenda. Everything is in place, ready for them to just flick the switch when it's time to flick the switch.
Yeah.
And if this country uprises like France has done, and the whole nation just uprises, all they got to do is flick that switch. They can target individuals,
Right.
And pretty much roast their. You know, they can boil your eyeballs out. They can alter your perception. So, but what we're dealing with, it's like I said to Michael, it's all very well setting up a new community in the woods. We can't do that here. This is why I've got a different approach to the future, and why I'm not leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, because all I'm going to be doing is moving from Sodom, going to Gomorrah, because we're a tiny little nation that we are. You know, so there's nowhere that we can run and hide. So this is what pisses me off about Michael. He's looking at it from a perspective where, A, you can carry a gun, and B, you've got somewhere you can go and hide for a year.
Oh,
but
yeah.
even then, he's still connected to the internet. They know where he is.
Yeah, they know where all of us are, as long as we
Absolutely.
devices on us. I listen, and I appreciate what you're saying. You know, I completely have total respect for your wisdom. I was just looking at the big picture that we're all under the same stuff. But you're right. Individually in each country, they're at different places and different agendas and how they're working things and what dates represent to different countries. But then there are the dates that represent something to those people on top all the time. That date means something, you know what I mean? And we could look into that where, well, 9/11, let's just say that about 9/11, what that means to them. Do you know what that means to them? 9/11?
9/11 is a 666, but 9/11 is, we've had our emergency phone number when we used to use the little red boxes, the phone boxes. Our emergency number was always 999. Okay, now you flip 999, you've got 666. But now what they've done is they've adopted 911 as an emergency service. I think 911 is part of the emergency services, isn't it? It's like it's not in this country. So they have adopted it here, but it's taken, you know, we didn't start off with our emergency services being 911. Our emergency services was, you know, 666, really, inverted 999. But there is that element of synergy between that number 9/11.
Well, 9/11, what somebody recently said to me, and of course I have no idea if this is true, and you maybe know more than I, but someone said that, and a few people concurred this, that allegedly that may be the real birth date of Jesus, and that's why they like to use that date to do bad stuff on.
And this is another one to bear in mind, is 9/11 in this country is the 9th of November. And here's another one. September, Sept is 7, whereas September is the 9th month. So, you know, there's some sort of curios going on there.
That is weird. Yeah, you're right.
You know, so, I mean, I think biblically it's confounding the languages is one thing that God did to stop that communication, which might be why symbology, hand gestures, you know, you don't need to verbally communicate with somebody to communicate. You know, you can use fingers to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Handshake stuff with the free guys. I don't want to say their name. They've got so many handshakes and all these hand gestures and a hidden hand, and then the pyramid, which didn't be on. Somebody just put up that pyramid recently at one of those events. You know, like, I don't know, Grammy.
Yeah, I think the pyramid and the one eye symbolism is kind of specifically used more by the entertainment industry, like sports and you know, the music industry and the entertainment industry, the movies, etc.
Yep.
The handshake, different handshakes, just pretty much denotes like your rank, in the Freemason world. You know, but and there are and I think that the head of the Freemasons is the Duke of Kent, British. But there's a lot to take into account, really. But there is a lot to take into account. But what would a day be? Would it be 9/11 or would it be 11/9?
11/9.
You know, it's difficult, you know, just to pinpoint that when they're going to move on something. But if you look at the London bombings was a 7/7/7, I think.
Well, the date, just the anniversary. No, not London. The Boston bombing was just yesterday, the 10-year anniversary.
Which was 16th of April.
I think. I just heard that, and we know that was a whole. I mean, come on. That was a beta run to see if they can lock people down and how fast they can get people to get in their houses and obey. I mean, that's how I see it. That's my perception. I'm a comedy parody satire channel, and I'm just joking around. Don't take anything seriously. If you're listening, AI of YouTube.
which it is.
I'm so sorry. I really try to be careful. Hey, did you know that, just a sidebar, I don't know, Rob, if you know Jamie's Madhouse, but Richard, did you know that Jamie has pretty much left YouTube and gone to DLive and Rumble?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, like a week or so ago, he goes, F it. I don't like, he goes, F you all, I'm leaving.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the day the internet, you know, if I get shut down here, I don't care, really. It's a blessing.
Yep.
Because, like I say, the most important place to be is in your community.
Yep.
And it's absolutely that. So I'm not reliant on the internet, and I'm not even reliant on my mobile phone, really.
Okay,
you know,
Malibu, I've got one for you. Booby bad. That's the AI.
Say that again, Rob.
The Danny Diesel's put in booby bad. I think that's the referring to the AI.
Booby back.
Look on the comment, but it's
I wish
bad.
There's Danny there.
I said hi in the chat, the people that I saw in there. I was just looking, what does 9/11 mean to the elites? You know, like, so it just as a researcher, I just go down all kinds of different paths to see. I just try to, I've always been this way, and I'm not saying it's a great thing, because you can be plagued by your need to know stuff. And I've, research, and thankfully I don't go like all manic on it. But I have to know, like, all sides of an equation, and I have to look at it and really think about it. And I can be very convicted about things, but I always try to be open, because there's always a chance I could be wrong, and I just want to know what the fact is, I don't want to be right. I just want to know truth, but truth is a nasty word now. I don't care about being right. I care about people, about all of us, about our survival, and finding out what we can do.
Truth is important, because the truth will keep us alive, and I've always been lying to us.
The truth can get you killed as well, mind.
Well, this is true.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
It's going to get more and more dangerous to have conversations like these, you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, if you're on a list, Rob, you're on a list, boo. I'm on a list.
I'm on a list, baby. I'm on a list.
Yeah, I have had my time standing in Speaker's Corner in London. I am definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Well, which one are you on? Red, green, or yellow?
Well, I put up a video regards the COVID, and it was pulled within 5 minutes. It was called "Follow the Money."
Wow. Minutes? They struck it?
They struck it within 5 minutes. It took me hours to put it together, days. And it was follow the money, the links, where all the money was going, who it was going to, the pharmaceutical companies and everything. And it was pulled in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you save it elsewhere?
Say again?
Did you save it somewhere else? Did you have it?
I will need to look in my files. The laptop I did it on was also, I'm not actually telling about this, the laptop I did it on was actually hacked.
Oh, no. Sorry. But yeah, you know, I've had all my bookmarks wiped out. That's how I would save all my research. You know, the way to save this shows you why I'm not really a crack researcher, because real researcher will have a running ledger with every single thing, dates, times, web addresses, because if stuff gets removed, and like if you have playlists, they would list every single video. That way, when things get removed, they know what was taken out. Like haven't done it. So when YouTube's gone in and I go into a playlist, it's video removed, video removed, video removed, video removed, and I'm like, see, I didn't note what that was, and you want to know what they're removing, because what they're taking away is what you want to know about, right? That's how I see it. What they don't want talked about, that's the meat of the thing. You know, has anyone heard, and we can't talk about any of that, but just say yes or no, the new VARIANT I don't know, something new. Is there something new out there? I don't watch the news. There's some new illness, disease, plague.
I've heard nothing.
You haven't heard anything?
I've heard nothing, but I don't have a television, and I get all my news on from other channels that do watch the news. I'm pretty sure I'll hear a variant. But
okay, what is Rob's channel name, please? Because I did click on the link quickly. I didn't see it. I want to make sure I can go and get stabbed.
Hold on, let me just put it. It is the Watching Observer 76.
I'm going to go on my computer so I can sub to you. But I want to just express my gratitude to being able to come and talk to you guys today. I know that I kind of, at certain points, have taken over, but it's because of that. And, you know, underneath that, it may be my fear, because at some level, even if you want to be, you could say I have faith without, you know, no bounds to my faith, and that may be true for you, but that's not true for me. So there could be the subconscious underlying fear, and that's why when I talk about these things, I elevate, because within me, I'm disturbed about it, and it is disturbing. You know? I don't know. We are here for a good reason. You know, I can lapse into, why do I have to be here for this? But if we're here, and we could do something really good, or we could do something really awful, and there's no gray area. You're either on the right side of things or not. And do the right thing in this world. And that is being loving to other humans and trying to find, I know, Richard, I don't know what you call it, not humans. We have to find the common ground. Do not allow the divide and conquer to come together, not as one, like the New Age and the, you know, the New World, whatever. But we have to understand, we have to be unified, because we all eat, sleep, breathe, bleed the same. At the end of the day, that's the fact. And like Niemöller said, first they came for the Jews. I'm going to end here so you'll see my blabbing stops. And I didn't care, because I wasn't one. And then they came for the socialists, and they came for the black people, whatever. There's all kinds of variations to this thing. This guy had been a U-boat captain, and he was part of he was part of not the Nazi Germany thing. But he actually became a priest in the end, I guess. But what he said, the last thing is, and then they came.
Oh, where have you gone? Okay. Okay, Malibu has dropped out for some reason. Maybe the mobile phone battery is gone. What I'm going to say is thank you for dropping in, Malibu. This has been going for 3 hours. It's been pretty great conversation, actually. Sort of like a mini podcast. I've enjoyed this. Are you still in here, Richard? Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah. I'm still here, Rob. Gosh,
I'm not sure what happened there, mate. She just dropped out for some reason. Maybe the mobile phone's gone.
Yeah, the sound went a bit, didn't it? So maybe it's that.
But, the mobile phone's gone.
I mean, fundamentally, it's the children are after, isn't it? Without a doubt. They said it about the cure. The cure.
Yeah.
No, it's not for children. And then ultimately, they're going down to. I mean, once they start on pregnant mothers.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to think. Yeah, it is. It's got to be all about the children. So.
Well, that's what they're after.
And children at such an impressionable age really is so wrong when we're going on to the Bud Light topic.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's strange that it's not like isolated to, you know, like San Francisco is the known capital of the gay world, I think, isn't it? And
yeah,
you know, it's not isolated to these little enclaves of where these things go on. It's been boom across the world. So something's happened worldwide that has made it, normalized it right across the board, right across the world in every country where it is, you know, like permitted. I don't know how they get on in China for this sort of
normalized thing. What? Because I got kicked out. What were you saying? They've normalized what?
The agenda, the Bud Light agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bud Light. I don't know what that's about.
It hasn't spread like a virus. It hasn't started off in one place and spread. All of a sudden, it was boom. Possibly because of the internet, but it's a mind. It's a mind thing. Rob's gone now. It's a mind thing. Well, not everybody. You know, the minds of those susceptible to this questioning their gender and sexuality. It happened kind of like. There he is. Pretty much happened overnight. At a flick of a switch. Again, at a flick of a switch. Became a worldwide phenomenon. So there's got to be something to either the cell phone system, or it might be something else. Because the agenda pretty much happened after they started the illness. And then they started, you know, giving the cure to children. So is it something that's pretty much messed with the minds of those that are susceptible? How come I'm not feeling like I want to be a woman? There's a song actually that skipping my mind. Feels like a woman.
Shania Twain, but that was before the world went absolutely insane, mate.
Yeah. Well, can you remember back?
Talking about a different song. Wait, say it again, Richard. Oh no, she cried. She's like a little girl. You're talking about a Bob Dylan song, because she cries just like a woman.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Right, Richard? Is that the one you were saying?
I think that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like a woman. Can you remember? Rob, you might remember this. There was a PIE. It was a political party back in the 70s. Can you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. The old PE, Information Exchange.
Yep.
Political party. Now there was the treasurer of that party was a guy called Charles Napier. Now he actually taught in my school, and I was actually groomed by him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he attempted to groom me because this is why I feel so protective of children, and so I mean, primary to my cause in life is to protect children against abuse, and most of it is down to the fact that I feel guilty that I had a dad that realised when I was sent home with a letter saying Richard needs extracurricular activity, I'll invite him to my home. And he wasn't even a teacher of mine. He was just a teacher at my school, Charles Napier. That my dad went down to school and complained. So I was lucky that I didn't get taken in. by this guy. So I'm racked with guilt to a degree that I was lucky that I escaped that abuse. But he was jailed maybe about 6 years ago. He got 16 years for historic abuse cases. Charles Napier. But he went missing for 3 years off the records. I've looked. I've done quite a lot of research into this guy, and he ended up in Thailand or somewhere like that. He moved around, but he was a treasurer for the PIE. I'll do a video on it.
That's some heavy stuff.
But so that's been good, you know. And then they had who was that politician? When same men on men interactions was illegal in this country. Jeremy Thorpe. Remember the Jeremy Thorpe case?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and you're probably going back to what, the 70s there, maybe the 80s.
I think it's about 70, 78.
Yeah, something like that. So that agenda is been slowly introduced into our society here.
Yeah.
Going back to the 70s. And then you had Thatcher, who used the information. Oh, what's that? Secret. What's the secret information?
The Secrets Act.
Official Secrets Act. That's it.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher used that to hide the documents. You remember that, relating to these MPs.
Yep.
And lords, and she was locking these documents up for 70 years. So
yes,
you know,
you
remember that. So that's been the primary source, the primary research that I've done over the last 16 years, maybe something like that, 15 or 16 years. Has been involved in that sort of thing, and along the lines of that, and more prominently probably within the last 10, just because I come across there's a guy on YouTube actually, Mickey Summers, who started the movement to give strength to the victims of child abuse. And you're talking about a guy in his 60s, so he was abused when he was 12, this guy. But all of a sudden there was a movement now where victims of child abuse then rephrase themselves as survivors. That's where it come about. It's those that have actually realized that, yeah, well, we're no longer victims. We've come out, and that's where the phrase of being a survivor come from. And that was sort of implemented by this guy Mickey Summers, really, who moved it to the fore. But this agenda about child abuse, that's what it all stems down to in many forms. But the sexualization of children is one of those to normalize that agenda that started going back in the 70s. PIE, Paedophile Information Exchange. Look it up. It's even got an entry on Wikipedia, which is pretty accurate, and probably the place you'll find probably the most truthful place about what actually PIE was. And it is on my agenda to do a video on it, just to expose it. And now it's probably about the right time, just to get people aware of it. Yeah, it's all about indoctrinating the children to sexualize young children.
Okay, people. Okay.
All right.
This has been brilliant. I think Malibu is trying to bounce. I'm going to say thank you for coming in. It's been brilliant to talk to you. We will do this again.
I didn't leave because I wanted to thank you both so much. And
thank you so much for coming on.
I feel so blessed. You have no idea. Like I just can I just give you some share some gratitude, share some faith, share some hope. Even though opium, Obama ruined that for everybody. But the thing is, he always said, or I've been told, the thing that you focus on with your thoughts and feelings, that's what's going to grow. That's what you're going to keep manifesting. And I was going through this horrible thing energetically, like I was so freaking trapped. Who is this rude woman? Don't worry, I'm leaving. The guy in the chat, he said, division is good to Richard. It was in the Bible. That guy in your chat, whatever, you got a lot going on in your chat. But anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked. But what was I just saying? What did I just say? Let me finish my point.
Oh,
Do you know what I
Oh.
was saying?
No, you cut out then, Boo.
you cut out then, Margaret.
Well, that sucks. No, I just wanted to thank you guys, and I share some gratitude and share some faith that when you take you're in something and it's a good cause, but it's draining you, it's harming you. You have to walk away. This happens. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
So
I did that the first time round. I had to.
And so
Yeah.
what happened is that, but it takes time, and they say it takes 3 months, 90 days to develop a habit, I think, or to break a habit. So you have to keep turning in the direction away from what you don't want and towards what you want. And you have to believe, even in these terrible times, you have to believe that you can find your place in this world and have a life worth living. You know what I mean? And I just started making this turn, and then I went to the drugstore the other day, and I have this crappy medical managed healthcare, right? And so, but I get this card of $185 and stuff you can get at the pharmacy, but it's all crap, right? But it's all pharmaceutical. It's the pharmaceutical companies just trying to sell you vitamins that are not very good and all that stuff. But I went and they gave me a $100 electric toothbrush for free. And you have to understand, little things like that lifts me up. I'm like, there is a God. I am getting a break. There is help. They're just little things like that. And what I want to end with saying is that sometimes you don't have those big things that help you have faith, but a lot of us, we have to, every little blessing that we get from our higher power, God, we have to acknowledge it, embrace it, and just nurture that baby like a plant. You give it, you water it, you love it, and the more you do that, the more that comes. That's what's been happening to me, and I just wanted to share that with people. And it's hard sometimes to get there, and I'm not saying I'll always be in this place, but I hope but it takes work, sometimes to maintain it. But don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what's going on, don't give up, because you're here for a reason, for a really good reason. And it's all about you make the choice if you're going to do work for the right God, or you're going to work for the devil. That's it. That's where we are.
True. Yep. Great.
To everyone, hugs, kisses, even to Michael in the chat, because I got no hate on my heart, baby. I got no hate. Okay, love you, and I mean that. So, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Remember this, Boo. To be 100% effective, we need to be 100% healthy of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So these fuckers that are trying to drag you down, please realize it now. Don't get sucked into that. You sit on that cushion of power that when you get there, just maintain that and just say, listen. And Danny's just made a comment: when people are doing their utmost to upset you, it's probably best to just laugh at them. But it's probably even better to just ignore them, really, because we've only got a limited amount of time to concentrate on everything they're throwing at us, really.
Yeah, you're right. And you've told me that before. And it takes what it takes.
I told you that a long, long time ago when we first met, and it is true. We got to be, if I want to go out and help my neighbors, I need to. I can't go out there dragging any of my, any burdens of my own out.
I do agree with you.
I haven't got any burdens. My burdens, I just don't have any.
Yeah, and the best thing though is not to hate. It's like to have that person and he's been attacking you and they're saying shitty. I don't know. I don't want to read, but I really have no animosity on my heart, and that shows me
he's coming from a different perspective.
What?
He's commenting on somebody else's lifestyle choice, i.e., me, from somewhere, in the middle of Canada. Canada's huge. Mentioned it earlier on. Canada's massive. It's not difficult to lose yourself in Canada, surely, in the woods. But to lose yourself in England or Britain, it's not quite as easy. So, he's, he hasn't actually listened. He hasn't done enough research to realise that our options aren't the same as his. And if he gets, you know, it's up to him really. I'm surprised I'm surprised he's made an appearance, and he had the opportunity to be enlightening to people. He had the opportunity. He was given a platform. Rob gave him the option of having a voice, and all it was abuse, which is,
when was that?
you know, so
Yeah,
you know,
don't come on the stream and just start screaming and swearing. It doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't.
No. I mean, I've had steps where I come in like a bull in a china shop, but I don't usually come in strong. I'll come in and somebody was doxing me, restreaming where I was doxing. I told him name if you're going to show that, and he didn't. And so I jumped on the panel with the other guy who had told me that I need to be taken to the feds medicine. He was talking, and I go, "Hey, you with the voice," because he used a voice changer. He says, "You coward in a sock with the voice changer. Just hush up for a sec, because I got to ask this guy why he's doxing me." And so I thought it was funny as hell, but you know, it pisses people off. That guy still hates me to this day. But you know, I am me. Some of me you may not like, and I need to work on parts of me. But some of me that you don't like, I actually do like, and I may not be changing it. I don't know. But love you guys, and I'm going to bounce so you can get, you know, finish your stream. And thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you very much. We will do this. We will do this again.
Love it. Let me know. Let me know where you're going to be live. I don't even have to be.
Absolutely, I will. You will see a little thing go up. But yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay, this has been brilliant. I've enjoyed this, Rich. It's been good.
Yeah. Is it right? Can I ask you before I bounce out? Is this your regular thing now, Rob?
Yeah, this will be our regular thing now. Yeah. Like we said, I tried to do the Wednesday. It just doesn't work with my work. Yeah. So you know, to do this and keep it regular, it has to be on a Sunday.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I'm going to hang on because I just want to hear you know, you can take me off the screen, but if I'll just hang around if you're going to wrap up. I'll mute myself out, but I won't. If I bounce out now, I won't hear the end of the live stream.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you ever so much for inviting me on, Rob, again.
No, it's brilliant, mate. It's been good. It's been good, mate. It's been cathartic. You know, sometimes you need to get your voice out. If you're going to come on a stream, don't start swearing and shouting because I will just take you. So it doesn't help anybody.
No, well,
I understand people are passionate, but screaming and shouting and swearing, especially on a live stream, is not going to help anybody.
Absolutely. And one benefit is because we're both in the same country. Hopefully, what we can do, because there's a guy called Funky Prepper. Have you followed him?
Yes, I believe I do. Yep.
Yeah.
On my other channel.
You know, I think he does a live stream. Well, whatever day he does his live stream, might be Saturday or Friday. But again, it's like a connective element between, particularly our country, really. You know, you look at America; they've got loads of live streams going on.
Yeah.
But I, you know, as far as Britain goes, I think expanding my own personal networking with other British channels is should be like a predominant thing. And David Yates, it'd be wonderful if we can get David Yates on at some point, because you know he is a deep researcher, and I don't know if you're familiar with things like are you familiar with David Yates?
The name sounds familiar to me because I used to do all this weight back in 2000s, you know, from 2016 onwards. Yeah. You know, it does sound familiar to me, but I haven't heard anything for a while. Well,
I'll be very brief. He had, I don't know how many, he was a prolific writer, okay, predominantly in creativity, like poetry and stuff like that. David Yates, he's got a channel, and he had, I don't know how many books he had on Amazon, maybe 80, 100, something like that. And then he released a book on there. It's called Climate Fake. and he got that shut down. He got his Amazon shop shut down at the flick of a switch. So he's now had to move over to Lulu, okay, which is another site that provides self-publication of literature, okay. But he's done books on Vernon Coleman. You've heard of Vernon Coleman?
Yep.
So he's had input from Vernon Coleman in his books. Dane Wigington, are you familiar with Dane Wigington?
Yeah, I've done all my geoengineering and all that sort of stuff back in the day. That was one of the things I was on Speaker's Corner for.
Oh, was it? It'd be great. This is an ideal. You've got an ideal platform, Rob, to have David Yates, because I'm in personal contact with David, and he sort of works in frequent hours. Let's call it that. He might be available for some evenings and weekends, or he's working.
That sounds like my life.
But he is, But to have an interact, to give David a platform. He's been on my live streams a couple of times, but he's he's a deep researcher. He doesn't put things out unless he's got the documentation. And his last book is called. And if you go to my community tab, I've got I think it's like the second or third post down. It's got a link to the book. It's called Climate Fake, and it's a thing that if I make a comment, David Yates has got a book on Lulu, without a link or anything like that, it doesn't. They wipe it out. YouTube wipes it out. So it's one of those taboo subjects that, and it's and I'm shadow banned on my comments just because of what I comment, really. But Climate Fake, David Yates. If you go on my subscriptions tab on my channel, he's on the top row. If you go on my community tab, there's a link to this book, Climate Fake. But he's been into patents. He's a deep researcher, him and Debbie. So I would say, if at some point you'd welcome him on to talk about, anything specific, he's a sensible man. He understands what words we can and can't say.
Yeah.
So I think at some point, just to connect, it's connecting all these little beacons of light, not Bud Light, but
not Bud Light, no.
Truth Light. Light. That would be, a massive step to, because this guy needs a massive platform. He needs a big platform. So just to get his, because if he sold 1 million copies of this book worldwide, it would pretty much change. It could change the course of what's happening, really. But I that's it. I've pretty much finished that. But if I can get in contact with David, and you would have, obviously, I don't think you'd have any qualms about having him on.
No.
But, and if you're familiar with geoengineering, etc., weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025, things like that.
Yeah, well, I understand that was a weather modification. It started back in the first tested it in Vietnam, and they call it Agent Orange.
Yeah.
I understand all that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say thank you for dropping on.
My pleasure, my friend.
3 hours and 3.5 hours. Thank you very much, sir.
Good one.
We will do this again.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out. Let's see how many links we can get, how many people we can get in here. It's something different for the channel. If you're gonna come on the stream, please don't shout swearing and screaming, because it helps nobody and you will be kicked. But this has been great. I'm gonna say not good night, I'm gonna say good morning. Have a great week, and I shall speak to you all next Sunday.
Excellent. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
Bless. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Boo.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all the people coming over.
Yeah, etc. Yeah. We're on 3 hours, 33 minutes and 27 seconds. If you can stop it on 3:33:33, like now.
Now. Oh shit! I just missed it.
Oh, you missed it.